Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to Newspapers with bebe. I wrote a couple of newspaper articles in my senior year of high school for my school newspaper, and three of them made one single issue. Another made one issue, but my mother clipped and snipped with scissors that article out of that paper. Left me the newspaper, but not the article. Thanks, Mom. Selfish. So here's mine. There is a little Montessori preschool attached to our high school, basically in an extra wing that was designed to be like a multi-purpose rental space for sister programs or sister businesses. So I typed, have you ever noticed that there's a fenced-in playground on the Ballard campus? Did you wonder why it's there? The answer is simple. Across the walkway in the north wing of the building is the Casa Maria Montessori Lab School at Ballard High School. It is a preschool for toddlers ages 2 to 5 and operates by the principles of the Montessori method. The Montessori method is an educational method from the 1930s, which is characterized by an emphasis of self-directed activity on the part of the child and clinical observation of a teacher. The importance of adapting the child's learning environment is vitally based on his or her developmental level and the roles of physical activity in absorbing abstract concepts and practical skills. The child care facility also operates by means of a contract with the Family and Consumer Sciences Academic Department. High school students can gain an internship credit by observing child behaviors at the lab school after completing a semester of child development class. Every semester, the child development classes will be allowed to experience working with the toddlers in the lab school for about 2 weeks. There were 2 of them that school year. I did my internship actually the previous school year in my junior year. And it was kind of meh. And then in my senior year, I ended up going back in there a few more times. And I remember there was the fire alarm went off during a hailstorm. It turned out some student was just leaning against the wall with their backpack on and didn't realize that they were leaning against a fire alarm pull-down thing with their backpack, and they slid down the wall to sit on the floor, and it pulled the alarm. It was a hailstorm, and the weird thing about this little Montessori preschool, they had the children wear slippers. Like bathrobe slippers, like little kids' slippers during the school day, because they were inside the majority of the day, and then they put their shoes on to go outside. Well, when the fire alarm went off, and it was raining buckets outside and hailing, I immediately went to wait for a friend so I could borrow the leather jacket, and then I went over to the Montessori school and helped to carry one child while a few more of my friends, I begged them to help carry the other kids because they had their slippers on and not their shoes. And in that case, all the adults and a bunch of high school students all stuck together, and every little kid was being carried or held or on the shoulders or in someone's arms. It was kind of meh. But hey, it's a good deed to do when you have a preschool on campus that says to little kids, we're not going to have our shoes on during the day. We're going to have slippers on. Which is, it makes the place comfortable, but it really doesn't help on rainy days when a fire alarm goes off and the whole school has to be emptied out onto the football field. So anyways, it's fun to see how early a child's brain can learn to develop reading and writing skills. I like watching the older children assisting the younger ones in their academic work, from 5-year-olds to 3-year-olds and a couple of 2-year-olds. The 2 classrooms. It's 2 classrooms and a little office space. 23 well-reserved toddlers who rarely ever raised their noise levels. And it was in operation from 2001 to 2009. At the end of 2009, the Montessori school program, their lease was expired, and they moved, I think, a few neighborhoods away, like 2 or 3 zip codes away, into like a little non-profit small house that had a business permit for businesses to run in. And then it went out of business, like, at the end of the next school year because it just wasn't meeting the needs of kids anymore, and probably a lot of parents were like, yeah, this isn't worth it. Don't get me wrong, Montessori is a good method, but if it's not put together in just the right way, it can turn out really awkward and subpar, and Montessori is expensive. And when your program is only half day or 3 days a week, how do you expect parents to be able to pay for it if one parent has to work from home or can't work outside the home because they got to be at home in the afternoons or in the mornings or in the extra hours or on the other days that there's no preschool? See, once your kids are in public school, at least, a parent can go back to work as long as their kid is in school 5 full days a week. But when your kid is in preschool, you got to make that decision. Am I going to spend a lot of money on preschool for my kid to go 3 half days a week and I can't work outside of the home because it's not conducive? Or am I going to put my kid in 5 days a week of preschool with full day and after school care hours so that way I can work outside the home and bring in money? And different parents make different choices. And I think, if you're a stay-at-home mom anyways, maybe Montessori is a good choice for your child, but it doesn't mean that it's the right choice for every child. Just keep that in mind. Montessori and Waldorf preschools, a lot of them do tend to be half day or 2 or 3 days a week. And so you gotta have a parent available to stay home with the child when there's no preschool. Or pick them up early. You have a babysitter. You have a nanny. You have a grandparent. So many combinations. I don't know what the future holds, but hopefully our future kids will be in a full-day program 5 days a week somewhere. Or I'll be a stay-at-home mom full-time. I don't know. We'll see. So approaching the 8-minute mark. Final remarks on Montessori preschools attached to high schools. It's a good idea. And there is a co-op preschool, neighborhood preschool, on the same campus as my first high school. And I got some community service hours at that one too. And I think that program ran a lot better than a little Montessori one did. It was just the experience and the staff and all the little kids and the parents and the physical environment. It all has to mesh. And the little Montessori school, I didn't feel like it meshed that well with the high school. And there wasn't really a lot of connection between the high school students and the little Montessori school itself. It felt very separate, like an island or like a peninsula. And that it was there physically, but it was detached emotionally and mentally from everyone else's minds. I asked a lot of people around the school, do you know what that place is? And they had no idea. I was just kind of doing a survey. Can you tell me where the preschool is? And they had no idea. See, in a school full of 2,200 students, very few, if any, knew that there was a preschool on campus. So, if very few students know at all, and there's no involvement, and it's very much like a very emotionally detached island, maybe you gotta rethink the purpose of that rental space and perhaps use it for something better that majority of the school is aware of. Because at the end of the day, it's all about perception. And if there's no perception, then what do you have? You have an island that no one knows it's there. The end.